Right now at 6, healthcare costs are about to skyrocket.
You're kind of stuck doing whatever the way the river flows.
As Californians weigh their health insurance options ahead of the new year, we'll meet an East Bay man having to cut back his budget to stay covered. Plus, how much will the rain impact your New Year's plans? Paul Hagan is tracking the storm moving in. And later,
please help me protect his legacy.
A deep-seated dispute leaving the future of San Jose's Vietnamese Museum up in the air. We'll hear from the council member and son of Vietnamese refugees working to bring both sides together.
And this become very personal to me.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Hi there, I'm Sarah Donchi. Juliet has the night off tonight. The new year is bringing steep healthcare costs to nearly 2 million Californians. According to state officials, the average covered California customer is going to see their premium go up by 97%, nearly double in 2026. And that's just the average. For some people, costs could more than triple. This comes as COVID-era federal healthcare tax credits are set to expire. Republicans and Democrats are still fighting about how to lower costs. Our Brad Hamilton looks at how the changes are putting some Californians in serious financial distress.
With the deadline to get health coverage starting January 1st fast approaching, we caught up with Covered California to see what they're seeing this enrollment period, and we met a man who's dealing with the sticker shock from rising premiums.
I believe so, yes.
We met Morgan Gunn walking out of a Covered California office at Concord Sun Valley Mall. He's still trying to process what he just learned. Gunn says that he had Covered California coverage for part of this year while he was looking for a new job. He described the premium he paid in 2025 as minuscule. But after his meeting today, he expects to pay about $1,000 for his coverage in the month of January.
I'm going to have to look at scaling back some other expenses that I don't want to, but, in order to make things work out, things you have to do.
Covered California told us that this has been a unique open enrollment. Enhanced federal tax credits, first introduced in 2021, helped boost signups by more than 23% in the state. Now, those credits are set to expire heading into 2026. It was a major sticking point in the government shutdown that was unresolved. Executive Director Jessica Altman says many Californians are now redoing the math.
On average, if these enhanced premium tax credits expire, what people pay for coverage each month in California through Covered California will effectively double, an increase of 97%.
According to Covered California, so far this open enrollment, about 123,000 Californians have signed up for new 2026 coverage. That is down about 30% from this time last year.
That tells me that people are waiting and watching or coming in and seeing the prices that we have and deciding they are out of reach to get health insurance on Covered California with these decisions coming from the federal government.
They estimate nearly 1.2 million Californians who qualify for coverage or low-cost Medi-Cal remain uninsured. For Morgan Gunn, there is no other option than to be insured, and he's now looking at making cuts to his budget to make it work. But he also hopes that something gets figured out at the federal level to ease some of the pressure he's feeling right now.
In a raft without being able to steer, you're kind of stuck doing whatever the way the river flows.
Anybody who's looking to get coverage from Covered California, the open enrollment period continues until January 31st. But if you want coverage starting January 1, that deadline is tomorrow night.
So California is taking some action to blunt the impact of these premium hikes. The state plans to offer about $200 million in tax credits to low-income Californians who make just a bit too much to qualify for Medi-Cal, the state version of Medicaid. Meantime, Congress is set to resume the health care fight next week when lawmakers return from their holiday recess. Just before that recess, 4 House Republicans joined with Democrats to force an upcoming vote on extending ACA subsidies for another 3 years. We are following a developing story, a major crash in Livermore. Roads are closed near the entrance of Cayetano Park. 3 cars were involved in the crash. You can see 2 of the smashed cars are on the side of the road with debris all over the lanes. An SUV was also damaged on the other side of the road. Police say at least 1 person has major injuries. Portola Avenue is closed right now between Isabel Avenue and East Airway Boulevard. That could cause problems for people trying to get on 580. Police say the road is expected to be closed for several hours. We will, of course, keep you posted on that. All right, turning now to the weather this time tomorrow. Most people will be getting ready to celebrate the start of a new year, but it's looking like a rainy end to 2025. So let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan with a look at the timing. Of course, a night when a lot of people are probably hoping for dry conditions.
And I think we're going to deliver anything but that. Just a few sprinkles around the Bay Area today. Not entirely dry, but the majority of the moisture that was trying to come up from the south evaporated on the way in. So a couple of drops on the windshield here and there. That's the extent of what we saw today. But as we head through the next 24 hours, that's a different story. The rain is going to surge in from the south, starting to hit the ground by late morning and really expanding during the afternoon and evening, and will freeze the map here at midnight. And while there's a couple gaps in between the showers, as indicated by the Futurecast radar simulation, it looks like a generally wet time frame as the new year is rung in. And of course, a lot of folks are going to be out and about, including downtown, taking in the fireworks display, assuming it is dry enough for that. Showers are likely, at least in the area, and it's going to be cool and breezy. Not going to be the windiest system that we've seen, but this is the start of another unsettled weather pattern that's going to last for several days. We've got a good rain chance pretty much every day in the 7-day forecast. They diminish slightly as we head through the first half of next week. That's just typical as we look a little bit farther down the line. There's always a little bit more uncertainty. This progression of storm systems, you combine every storm that's going to be moving through, and there's going to be 3 different surges of moisture. They're going to combine to have the impact of an AR3, atmospheric river, which means we have to be on the lookout for localized flooding and the potential for some wind damage. Track the rain and the wind for a longer time frame than just to midnight tomorrow, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Paul, thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. By the way, there is also a spare the air alert for New Year's Day because of all of the smoke expected from fireworks and wood burning. We certainly have seen that before. That means on January 1st, burning wood, both indoors and outdoors, is prohibited. And stay with us for continuing coverage of the rain and its impact. We're going to keep you updated on the air and on the free CBS News app and on KPIX.com. Despite the wet weather tomorrow, organizers in San Francisco say the big New Year's Eve fireworks show is still on. Fences are going up along parts of the Embarcadero for safety. The port expects tens of thousands of people to visit the city for the fireworks show. They are encouraging people to dress warmly. The fireworks go off at midnight. Of course, you have to be prepared for the rain, as Paul Hagan was just describing. No stopping signs have been placed all along the Embarcadero. Also for New Year's Eve, that is going to start being enforced tomorrow at 4 p.m. Cars that do stop in defiance of those warnings will be towed, we're told. Businesses along the waterfront are getting ready for New Year's Eve, too. High Dive is one of the spots expecting to see a lot of people. They're going to have extra staff and champagne glasses to ring in 2026. The bar manager tells us it's a popular location to watch the fireworks show.
The fireworks can be seen from here, and typically it has like a really cool view with the fireworks going off behind the bridge. And then also there's always a lot of traffic on the Embarcadero. People kind of get stuck, so then a lot of times they have no choice but to see them from here.
And if you're going to be out celebrating, Muni wants to give you a free ride home. The free bus rides go from 8 p.m. to 5 in the morning. The subways will run until 2 a.m. They are also adding extra lines to help with potential crowding. BART is running extended service also until 1 a.m. with additional trains. Though on New Year's Day, BART will have a Sunday service schedule. And don't forget, you no longer need a Clipper card to ride. You can just tap and pay with your debit and credit cards on your phones with Apple or Google Pay as well. If you take BART after midnight, be prepared to pay extra. Starting on January 1st, fares are going up by 6.2%. BART says the increase is based on inflation. Parking is also going up. Riders will pay 40 cents more for daily parking at most stations. It gets complicated for reserve parking. Those rates are going up at some of the stations and then down at stations that aren't as busy. A deadly shooting at an IHOP in Richmond to tell you about. Police say an employee was shot inside of the restaurant. It happened yesterday afternoon at the IHOP on Close Way, just off I-80 near Hilltop Plaza. Inside, officers found a man with at least one gunshot wound, and he died at the restaurant. Police have not released the victim's identity, and they're asking anyone with information to come forward. And San Pablo police are also investigating a deadly shooting. It happened last night on Rum Rill Boulevard, a couple of blocks away from Richmond High School. Officers found 2 men with gunshot wounds. Both were rushed to the hospital, where one died. The other is in critical condition. Their identities have not been released. A police officer was hurt during a chase in San Ramon. This one ended with the suspect's car slamming into a fire hydrant last night. San Ramon police say they were looking into stolen cars in the area when they tried to stop a suspect. Police say the driver took off and rammed at least 4 police cars on Ivy Hill Road before eventually losing control and hitting the hydrant. Adam lives nearby and recorded video of the crash and the search.
Oh, well, they got the dogs out and all the guns out, walking through the buildings, and then I heard they called off the search. Just a lot of commotion. The neighbors out here worried, asking what's going on, and then, just concern.
Police say at least 2 people are in custody. The injured officer is also expected to be okay. Still ahead here at 6, a battle over the future of San Jose's Vietnamese Museum. We'll meet the council member trying to mediate the fight and protect its founder's legacy in the process.
He left a mark inside my heart and my soul. How to move forward, how to support the Vietnamese community, and how we come together.
Plus, we'll have a sneak peek at a unique Rose Parade float made by and for survivors of the deadly Southern California wildfires. And later, the 49ers hoping to lock down a top seed in the NFC playoffs, why they say home field advantage is not even the biggest perk. San Jose has the largest Vietnamese population of any city outside of Vietnam, but a museum focusing on their history and their culture has been closed for a year. And it'll stay that way if internal disputes aren't resolved before tomorrow's deadline. Kevin Coe talked to the council member trying to mediate the dispute to protect the legacy of the museum's founder.
I came here as a refugee, as an immigrant. My family is on the South Vietnam, had fought throughout the war. And this become very personal to me.
San Jose City Council member Bien Duan finds himself in the middle of a personal dispute, now in the public spotlight as the future of San Jose's Viet Museum hangs in the balance. The museum is operated by the Immigrant Resettlement and Cultural Center, or IRCC, which has split into 2 factions, each claiming they are the legitimate governing body of the museum. Councilmember Duan has stepped in to mediate for the 2 sides, who haven't been able to come to a resolution over the past year. Claire Gordon Betancourt works for History San Jose, the nonprofit that oversees History Park, which is where the Viet Museum is located. They've given the board a deadline to come to a deal before the end of the year.
Our path has been, okay, if you 2 are in a dispute, we're going to close the museum to protect the artifacts and the building itself so that you all can sort out what your path forward is, or if there is a path forward.
We reached out to board members, including IRCC President Quinn Tran, but did not hear back. In early December, she and fellow board member Min Lei spoke out at a Santa Clara County board meeting.
History San Jose has issued an arbitrary ultimatum. They have said that if the matter is not resolved by December 31st, in 3 weeks, they will cancel the lease and erase the Viet Museum from existence.
Adding another layer of tension is the recent passing of Loc Vu, the founder of the museum and IRCC, who was recognized for helping resettle more than 20,000 South Asian immigrants across Northern California.
On behalf of the community that loved him, please help me protect his legacy.
It would be heartbreaking for a community to feel like this museum that tells so much of their story and is so important to them is going to close. And I want to reassure them that it's not.
According to Gordon Betancourt, if there isn't a resolution by December 31st, History San Jose will look for another governing body to oversee the Viet Museum. So far, she says, both sides have not provided valid evidence.
They said they've provided paperwork. What's going on? And it's because it only represents one side's perspective of legitimacy, but the other party still contends that they are the legitimate party.
In the middle of it all is Councilmember Duan, who is working as a mediator between both parties in the hopes of saving the Viet Museum in honor of Loc Vu.
He's like a father to me. He left a mark inside my heart and my soul. How to move forward, how to support the Vietnamese community, and how we come together and for the betterment of our younger generation.
Councilmember Duan told us that he is still talking to both parties, working to find a resolution. He says if the two sides can't come together, then he's going to work to make sure the next governing body to take over the museum has cultural ties and connections to the Vietnamese community. Now, the city of Oakland is looking for 500 volunteers to help with their biannual homeless point-in-time count. On January 22nd, volunteers will tally how many people are living in the streets, in cars, and in RVs. The data from that count will help determine how homelessness resources are allocated. They will also conduct interviews with the unhoused to help explain the issues that may lead to people living outside. City officials say this is an opportunity to end some of the myths about homelessness in Oakland, like the idea that unhoused people are moving to the city from other places because the laws are more favorable.
I think it's an opportunity to get the data so we can identify what is factual and what is false.
The 2024 point-in-time count found nearly 5,500 people were unhoused in Oakland. That was up about 8% from the previous count, which happened back in 2022. A Benihana boom is coming to the Bay Area. The chain announced it has plans to open 10 new locations. That includes full-service restaurants as well as fast casual Benihana Express spots. No word yet on where this is going to happen, but the first two are set to open next year, with more rolling out over the next 7 years. Coming up, our first look at this winter at the Sierra snowpack and how recent storms have boosted the state's water supply. All of these storms we've had seem to have boosted our state's water supply, as you might expect, but there's still a ways to go. Today was the first snow survey of the season in the Sierra. The Department of Water Resources found that statewide, the snowpack is at 71% of average for the state. It was 115% the same time last year. Water officials say that although the boost is good news, they say it's still really early for the water year and winter season.
The conditions in the coming months, especially January all the way through the end of March, are really going to be telling and determine how our snowpack is ultimately going to be for our water supply in the spring and summer.
Their next survey is expected to be around early February. And even when we're in good shape, Paul, we always hear a little bit of caution.
Yeah, because it is still very early in the season. Of course, the ski resort's very happy to pick up that snow that they got last week, and there's more on the way already under a winter storm watch for the upcoming system. This goes from Friday through Sunday. At lake level, expecting up to a foot of total snowfall. Above 7,000 feet, that's where up to 2 feet of snow could fall just with this first sequence of storms. You're not going to get a whole lot out of tonight and tomorrow. Snow level is going to be a little bit higher, but they are going to pick up quite a bit more with the second surge of moisture that's going to be moving in. That's going to be Friday and into Saturday, so expect difficult travel conditions over the weekend, the first weekend of 2026, along both US 50 and I-80. It's going to be rain in the Bay Area, which means Jax here, our adoptable dog of the day, should get out early in the day tomorrow for a little bit of outside time because the rain is going to move in during the afternoon. He's adoptable from Lily's Legacy Senior Dog Sanctuary in Petaluma. I'll put up a link on social media just as soon as we finish up this weathercast. But let's talk about the details of this upcoming storm system, and we'll look to the floor map and track the moisture that's surging up towards us from a bit of an unusual direction. This is the heart of that storm system swirling away well off the coast of Southern California, but it's directing a tropical air mass towards Southern California and eventually towards the Bay Area. That's why the snow levels are going to be a little bit higher with this first round of moisture. But this is the first of, again, 3 different rounds of rainfall. They're going to be headed for the Bay Area as we finish 2025 and head into 2026. So let's take a look at Futurecast, and we'll take a look first through 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And there are some returns indicated on the radar simulation, but this is going to evaporate on the way down. It looks impressive, but this is not going to result in much more than a trace of rainfall through late morning tomorrow. But from late morning through evening, that is when we're going to track the rain actually hitting the ground. So it is going to be wet during the afternoon. If you're working on New Year's Eve, it's going to be a wet afternoon commute. If you're heading out for any New Year's Eve frivolity, pack a raincoat. It's not exactly the type of weather that's going to be conducive for, the festive evening wear you associate with New Year's Eve. This forecast model indicates a few breaks right around midnight. Take that with a pillar of salt. I think we're going to be looking at quite a number of showers as we head through the midnight time frame and all the way through New Year's night itself. Then we get into more of an off and on pattern as we head deeper into New Year's Day on Thursday. But every day in the 7-day forecast has at least a chance of showers. And you add that up over the course of just the next about 36 hours or so. This first wave of moisture, generally a half an inch to an inch of total rainfall, a little bit more in the Santa Cruz Mountains and some of the higher elevations of the North Bay, but kind of an evenly distributed round of rainfall. The winds will pick up, but they're not going to be overly strong. The winds shouldn't be too much of a problem during the day tomorrow, but as we head through tomorrow evening, when a lot of people are going to be out and about, that's when those winds start to pick up, and we are going to get some gusts into the 15 to 25 mile an hour range, and the next burst of wind is going to occur with this next system that's going to be moving in on Friday and resulting in some 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts. So that's that next one, spreading some heavier rain across the Bay Area Friday into Friday night and Saturday. And then there's more rain in the forecast by Sunday and into Monday. And that's when the snow is really going to be adding up in the Sierra. So wave after wave of moisture, not as dramatic as what we had last week, but still we're talking about impactful rainfall, which is why we have several straight alert days highlighted in the 7-day forecast. So pretty much every day through Monday of next week, There's going to be rain. There's going to be wind. It tapers off to showers by next Tuesday. And after that, maybe we'll get more of a break. But that's a long way down the line. In forecasting terms, we'll be here keeping you updated.
All right, Paul, thanks. When we come back, Rising Together for the Rose Parade, we'll meet a survivor of the Eaton fire who found healing while working on a special float. A lot on the line for the 49ers all week long. We're counting down until Saturday's showdown against the Seattle Seahawks at Levi Stadium. And it's got higher stakes than even your average rivalry game. Whichever team wins gets home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. And with the Super Bowl also at Levi's, that could mean that the Niners could theoretically play at home and sleep in their own beds for the rest of the season, which would be huge. But if you ask head coach Kyle Shanahan, home field isn't even the biggest advantage of the number one seed.
I think the simplest way to say it is, everyone's goal is to win a Super Bowl. And in order to do that, I would say it's easier to win 3 games than 4 games. You'd always rather play at home, no doubt about it. But the main thing is just it's one less game. I'd love to be home. That's our goal. If that doesn't work out, we're excited to go on the road, too.
And Niners fans travel well, as we know. Stay with us for all the excitement leading up to the Best in the West showdown. We'll have continuing coverage all of this week ahead of Saturday night's big game. The Rose Parade is a 137-year-old tradition in Pasadena, but this year, float designers have to plan for wet weather. And if it rains, it'll be the first time that's happened in 20 years. But that is still not dampening the plans of parade participants, including some survivors of the Eaton and Palisades fires. Their float is called Rising Together. It depicts a phoenix taking flight as flowers native to California bloom beneath it. Participants say this float is a tribute to the 31 people who died in the fires and more than 13,000 families who lost their homes. One survivor says this project has helped with the healing process.
Definitely therapeutic, being together with the community to the extent that we're able to, because we're now displaced outside of Pasadena, Altadena, but being able to be around community has been the best thing.
Wildfire survivors from Altadena, Pacific Palisades, and Malibu will ride on the float. And obviously, this is almost a year since those destructive fires hit Southern California. The CBS Evening News is next for us here on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're back here in 30 minutes with CBS News Bay Area at 7.